Palmater kicks the ball deep to Cody Brown, said forget about it. This kid's got a great leg. The Kansas City Chiefs would like to hit somebody like that. Ball's going to come back to the 20-yard line with 7:20 remaining. Now twice this year Georgetown has been down. Let's see what they can do. They've got the great quarterback Eddie Evanston. Has struggled after halftime. He's got 16 completions, fired the football 31 times for 250 yards. The biggest thing he's probably got to do is involve his fullback, Corey Taylor. The man who can tell you more about that, head football coach Bill Cronin. Well, the Tigers come out. Taylor the lone setback. A double wing formation. Gann on one side, Cairns on the other. And receivers left and right. Cairns comes in motion. Evanston back to throw with a 32nd time. Sideline pattern incomplete at the 31. Trying to hit Cody Brown. That ball was out there. He threw over his shoulder pad, but just a little bit too tall for him.
The thing you got to remember about both these teams is they haven't played in games like this at all. They've been blowing out everyone. They've not been in a late fourth quarter situation, but both teams have a lot of integrity. We've spent a lot of time with these kids. There's no give up, and you're seeing Georgetown's offense. Again, they had an open receiver. The ball was just slightly overthrown, and even the catch could have been made but was dropped.
Back to throw again. Eddie Evanston has time over the middle. Pass incomplete at the 25-yard line. He tried to throw the ball to Josh Cairns. Good coverage by safety man Shedrick Harris. Harris, who came up with 6 picks on the year. Tremendous talent, 5'11", 195 from Jackson, Mississippi, and everybody says this guy is a great hitter. So now third down and 10.
What's even more amazing about Shedrick Harris, number 3 for Northwestern, is the fact that he has 7.5 sacks. And what's a strong safety doing with 7.5 sacks? It shows you how they attack the line of scrimmage with this defense.
Well, he's now 1 for 9 passing the second half for 9 yards after being brilliant in first half. Here's the pressure, and he eludes the pass. Now at the 10-yard line, Eddie's got some time, fires the ball, and it's deflected back. It comes back to the backup fullback. That's going to be Ryan Allison. The ball was tipped. The man who hit it first would have to be Josh Cairns, and then it's picked up with a backup tight end, Ryan Allison, and so Georgetown stays alive.
That's a play we may remember. This is 3rd and 10. Middle linebacker Daryl Richardson, number 56, blitzes. It looks like he's going to pull down quarterback Eddie Evanston, but Evanston does a great job of getting away. Then he gets his composure, his feet set, and throws a perfect pass to Josh Cairns, but he misses it. It ricochets up in the air, and there to catch the football is Ryan Allison. Only his 3rd catch of the year, but a big one for Georgetown on 3rd and 10. We've seen both teams have a ricochet turn into a completion. Unbelievable bounce of the football. Georgetown somehow keeps the football and the drive alive.
We sure do. And we've got a violation.
Dead ball. False start by the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
So first down after the 5-yard penalty with 6:47 to go. Dale Alman and staff on the near sideline. That's a former quarterback, Terrence Coleman, alongside him. And now the Georgetown quarterback, the player of the year, Eddie Evanston. Let's see what he can do now. He's got it first down and 15. Quick drop for him. Here's the pressure from the outside. Moore is there, but again he scrambles out of it. Richardson there, and he doesn't get beyond him. Daryl Richardson, the inside backer for Northwestern, makes the hit at the 26-yard line. But I thought for a moment that Ron Moore had him nailed in the backfield, but that's why Eddie's so hard to bring down. He's 6'3" and a 205-pounder.
We've talked a lot about the running of Al Hunt of Northwestern, but Eddie Evanston also, as the guy's had 6 games with 70 yards rushing or more, and he's very dangerous in the pocket. Here it looks like he's dead to rights. Ron Moore has him. Nope. Moore slips off, and Eddie Evanston can turn upfield. Now, when you got Northwestern, you're going to see more than one wave, and Daryl Richardson's been there to clean up all day long, this time getting a sack on the quarterback.
Second down and 23. Crouch in the game in motion. There's a screen pass to the near side, incomplete, intended for Cody Brown. They tried a weak side screen and 2 men back to cover, led by cornerback Isaac Marvin. Harvin does a tremendous job on that particular play. It was speed against speed, and that time the ball was a little bit fired out there, I think, by Eddie prematurely because of the rush. So that'll bring up 3rd down and 23.
The defensive end, Ron Moore, did a great job of reading that it was the inside screen, and he just dropped off in coverage, didn't rush the quarterback. He got into the passing lane, forcing quarterback Eddie Evanston to just throw the ball away.
3rd down and 23. Evanston back to throw it. Has some time. He fires the football at the 38-yard line. The catch is made by Josh Cairns. Did he make a great catch? He reached up at the 37-yard line, beating Shedrick Harris. That's simply a remarkable effort and a first down for Georgetown.
Great pass protection up front, gives quarterback Eddie Evison time to look downfield. There are 3 receivers to the right side, and what they do is have Josh Cairns, number 10, in your screen right there, run down the field, get in a one-on-one situation against Shedrick Harris, and Josh Cairns goes up on a perfectly delivered pass and pulls the football down. They convert on a 3rd and 23 situation.
They love to do that. 5.5 to go, 38-yard completion. There's a draw play. Taylor up the middle, tackled immediately by Chris Ellis. Ellis saw that one coming, and the fullback Corey Taylor gets nailed. A senior from Louisville, Kentucky, might have gotten a yard. That'll bring up 2nd down 9. He alternates these 2 linebackers, Chris Ellis and Chris Toney. Toney being the better against the pass, Ellis very good against the run.
Both guys are pretty young. Chris Ellis is only a sophomore from Prague, Oklahoma. Chris Toney is a redshirt freshman. Young guys that'll be on the field for years to come for Northwestern.
Evison trying to work his magic. Tries the option, pitches back, trailing halfback there. Can they make the play at the 43-yard line? They got the ball back to Ashley Mosier, and he's a big, fast fullback. Dustin Lovelace makes the hit on it. When they put Ashley Mosier in the game, they like his speed. He averages over 7 yards a carry. He's crossed the goal line 4 times.
But when you run the option, you've got to execute the pitch, and all day long we've seen Eddie Evanston making poor pitches. This time back to Ashley Moser, the senior who actually played defensive line until the spring of 1999. He was moved to a running back position, is there just to dive on the football. Here's a guy laying on the ground, Dustin Lovelace, the All-American who's been fighting through an injury. You know his knee hurts, but he's still trying to make it back on the field. Once again, laying down on the field. They're going to have to carry him off, but wouldn't be surprised to see him come back another time.
He made a great comment to me yesterday. We were talking about, I said, did you know this would be your year of destiny? He said, you know, I told my wife Jill during two-a-days, he said, this team has something special. We like each other, we're quick, we're good athletes. I've got a feeling we could win the national championship. Not many times do football players feel it, but this guy does. You talk to him, he's very quiet verbally, but on the football field, he's as good a defensive tackler as you'll see. 3rd down coming up, 18 to go. Ball now resting at the 44. Eddie Evanston back, pressure up the middle by Darren Richardson. He makes the play. Darrell Richardson got to the quarterback. He simply teed off, said forget anything else. Richardson with the big plays defensively all afternoon for the Rangers. That's a loss back to the 45.
The middle linebacker blitz by Darrell Richardson was not picked up by the right guard, Matt Fry. It was his responsibility. Watch number 52 to your right. He slips on the turf. You see him right there on the left side of your screen. He fell down. That meant there was no one there to block the blitzing middle linebacker, Darrell Richardson. Eddie Evanston had no chance. He takes the sack, and Georgetown is forced to punt.
3:40 now to play and counting. An 8-point Northwestern lead. There's the kick away by Gabe Stone. Short kick, but he gets a very good bounce on it. Beyond the 30 and out to around the 27. Go timeout in the field with 3:28 to play in this championship game. We've got a dandy. Right now, Northwestern Oklahoma State with an 8-point advantage. Points at halftime, lead 28-20, and Al Hunt has been brilliant. He'll be a hard guy to beat for MVP. 7 for 12 passing, 67 yards. Take a look at Bill Cronin's football team. He's not talking about what's coming up next because he coaches the offense. But when you take a look at Al Hunt, Hunt has run for 24 times, 127 yards, including that last score. Right now, Bill knows he's got his back to the wall. 1st down, 10 yards to go at the quarterback at the 27. High formation, Manuel the up back. Again, McBride the tailback. Back to throw it. He can fire a football deep. He's got the man wide open. Willie Spears to 40, at the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown. That may be the coup de grace. It's a 73-yard bomb. And the quarterback threw it out beautifully. Al Hunt threw the ball to Willie Spears, the go-to guy with 3:17 to play in the game.
Northwestern is very effective throwing the football when they choose to throw the football. You see Tim Alman with his hands on his head. He can't believe it. He makes the aggressive play. People are thinking they're going to run out the clock, but he throws a play-action pass. And Al Hunt, who completes 61% of his passes, throws the ball deep downfield to Willie Spears. Spears' 19th catch of the season ends up being the longest touchdown of the season for Willie Spears. 71 yards later, he takes it in. Northwestern, unbelievably, is about to score their 35th straight point and take a 15-point lead after being down 20-0 at the half.
And that kick is wide by Danny Palminer. He kind of sliced that a little bit. We got to bragging too much on the Rangers. Hunt has really done a beautiful job in this ball game. 8 for 13 passing, 145 yards. Eric, what's happening?
I'll tell you what, Tom, one of the things that I know you know about the option offense is that one of the things is it's a running offense, but the thing is you can lull that defense to sleep. What Al Hunt did is he really dipped low into one of those Boomer Esiason type play action passes and just really suckered the entire Georgetown defense. The wide receiver all alone down the sidelines, and you saw the result.
Yeah, and he can fire that deep pass. We saw that in a Wheat Bowl game this year out in Ellenwood, Kansas. He had 2 long touchdown passes. He threw one to Chris Choice. He threw another one to his tight end. Tim Albin right now has got to be the happiest guy in town. Rarely, if ever, do you see a ball club down by 20 points come back in the third quarter. When he got back in the ball game by a 2014 score, he's there. One play on that 73-yard bomb just took about 11 seconds. Hunt fired the touchdown pass, threw that ball brilliantly downfield.
As you know, Tom, this ball club has what they call the red alert. That means for 24 hours before kickoff, they carry their helmets everywhere they go to remind them they've got to be ready. Well, maybe they forgot about the first 30 minutes of football, the noon kickoff. They got a slow start, didn't score in the first half, but man, have they turned it on here in the second half. Now leading 34-20, but if there's any offense in the nation in NAIA football you'd want to have in this situation with 3:17 left and 2 touchdowns down, it's Georgetown. They can score quickly, and they're still not giving up. They're going to try to put together a couple of drives here. There's plenty of time. They have 2 timeouts left with 3:17 on the clock.
Danny Palminer kicks the ball down deep inside the 10-yard line. They'll try to run it back. Trying to get to the outside. Georgetown trying to make something happen, and the tackle applied near the 20-yard line. The stop was made by Chris Toney. That time what you saw, the football kick, they tried to kick the ball away from the wide receiver. They kicked the ball to Jason Tankman, a freshman redshirt at 165 out of Cincinnati, Ohio. So now let's see what quarterback Eddie Everson can do. He's really got his back to the wall now, down by 14, 3 minutes and 8 seconds to go. I think right now Al Hunt should be the offensive football player of the game, no doubt about it. Daryl Richardson defensively has been a big man as well on the other side. Back to throw it. Eddie Everson is being pressured. Good pressure up the middle by Ron Moore. Now again, Eddie is scrambling around and finally tackled near the 15-yard line. Stop was made by Daryl Richardson again. He has been brilliant in this ball game. That time the quarterback Eddie Everson looked deep and everybody's covered, so you had to take your hat off the defensive secondary, the Rangers. And right now they're going to be playing back. Take a look at the passing the second half. Only 66 yards passing after the break by Eddie Everson. First half he fired for 241 yards. Second down and 16. Cairns comes in motion. And he's going to roll left. Going to take some time. Spirals a deep pattern. Throws the ball for Cody Brown. Makes the catch to 40. And he will be on his feet at the 30 and finally stopped at the 26 by Isaac Harvin. I thought for a moment he might break it. But Harvin, a great one-on-one cover guy, pulls down Cody Brown. The long deep pass, and Georgetown trying to get it to happen again.
They take it out to the left on the roll. Cody Brown runs deep downfield, and then he stops right there. And then he takes back off. He sucked Isaac Harvin into watching the quarterback, and Isaac Harvin didn't see the speedster Cody Brown turn upfield. A great throw downfield by Eddie Everson, and Georgetown is back in Northwestern territory at the 26-yard line.
Cairns comes in motion. Everson back to throw. Spirals a sideline pattern. He's got the man wide open. Touchdown to Keenan McWhorter. He was wide open on that touchdown throw of 26 yards. Northwestern clicks quickly. They're back in the ball game as Georgetown goes over the top to make it 34-26. And we talked about Eddie Everson. There is a reason he's the player of the year, and he threw that to wideout number 9, Keenan McWhorter.
We talked about the quick strike offense, and here you see it. In just 2 long pass plays, they have a touchdown. This time, Keenan McWhorter scoring the touchdown, and with the missed extra point, you don't have to go for 2 from Georgetown's perspective. All you need to do is score 2 touchdowns, kick 2 extra points, and you can send this game into overtime. There's plenty of time left with 2 timeouts left on Georgetown's slate.
Kevin Davis kicks it up and he can't convert. So it must be contagious. 3 plays and 79 yards. That drive required just 56 seconds. And Eddie Everson now 20 for 38 in the ball game for 379 yards. That's a remarkable drive. 2 quick pass plays. Bill Cronin says, I know we can do it. Look for him now with 2:09 to go for the onside kick. It's about their only option right now, trailing by 8 points. That's an amazing drive. 3 plays and 79 yards.
Well, I think they can go for the onside kick if they like here, but if they don't want to try the onside kick, there's plenty of time left. Remember, they have 2 timeouts with 2:09 left. The key would be making sure that Northwestern does not get a first down. So there's really 2 options here. Some coaches like to kick it away. Others say, what the heck, let's try the onside kick. If we don't get them, then we can still come back and try to get the football on the stop. And with the big play strike ability that you see from Georgetown, they don't really care where they take over the football. So they are going to kick the football. It looks like the onside kick, and they've got a different kicker in the ball game to do that. Corey Smith is the onside kicker.
Yep, he does a good job. Well, Corey does a good job to kick it deep or short. When he was working on that in practice yesterday, let's see what he does. He's going to try to bounce it 10 yards if he can. There's the kick. It goes nearly 10 yards, the 45-yard line. Northwestern thinks they've got it, and they do. It's nicely picked up. The man who picked it up, Charles McBride. And what you do in a kick situation like that, you put your best athletes and your fastest athletes in that first line, and that's exactly what the Rangers did. Now they take over at the 45 of Georgetown with 2 minutes and 4 seconds to go, and Al Hunt's got a job. He's leading here by a 34-26 lead. Doesn't want to do anything that's too much of a gamble, but yet wants to keep the chains moving. Willie Spears is wide left. Connor wide on the near side. Lone setback behind the quarterback will be Gary Manuel. Manuel scored a 5-yard touchdown. He gives to him. Manuel goes up the middle, bangs down to around the 40-yard line. 5-yard pickup for Gary. Stop is going to be made by the left end Clay Rogers. Second down with 5 yards to go. Time winding down. 1 minute and 55 seconds to play in this championship game.
What will happen here is Georgetown will not call a timeout right here, but then if they can stop them on second down and third down, they'll use up their 2 timeouts. If they're successful stopping Northwestern from getting a first down, they'll have about a minute on the clock when they get the football back. But the key is stopping Northwestern. They're already in a 2nd and 5 situation.
And 1:32 to play. Clock becomes vital. There's a handoff to Manuel. Just a short gain going right up the middle. The middle of the Georgetown defense comes in to get him. Stop is made by Ed Long again. Clock continues to roll with 1:24 to play. And what you're seeing, the Georgetown football team, led by head football coach Bill Cronin, would love to see something happen. He'd like to see, in this situation, he'd like to see a turnover. Now, they're the type of defense that's very solid, but not basically a turnover-oriented team. They don't tackle the football very well. But I can't ever remember a football game I've seen, Stan, where I've seen a team have so much going in the first half. Tremendous momentum, 20-0. Northwestern had nothing going. They couldn't take it in from the 10 twice. Now, the 3 turnovers in the second half give them 3 short drives. And then the magic of the quarterback, Al Hunt. And a guy told me years ago, to win a championship, you need 2 things, a defense and a quarterback. And I can tell you, Northwestern's got that.
Well, they have a great defense, and we've seen Al Hunt put together career performances rushing the football and passing the football today. But you talk about defense, the Georgetown Tigers and defensive coordinator Dave Campbell are saying, we want to see a little defense here. They don't need a turnover. That would be nice. What they need is stop and force Northwestern to either punt the football or go for 4th down and miss. And their offense will have plenty of time to come back. Momentum can switch so quickly in football. We saw it, and it could switch again in the favor of Georgetown before this game ends.
3rd down and 5. Hunt's going to keep the ball from the stack eye inside the 35 and stop near the 33-yard line. That time, Al Hunt said, forget about it. I'm going to fake the dive and carry the football himself. He did that. Gets good yardage going right up the middle. Georgetown defense is going to tackle that football if they can get it done. Well, excellent defensive tackle made by the left cornerback, B.J. Paulus. And there's a worried man right now, Coach Bill Cronin.
Yeah, he knows they need to stop him from getting a first down. Did not get the job done. Al Hunt, the MVP of this ball game, like you said, Tom, picks up the key 3rd down conversion. Now Georgetown has only 1 timeout left. And Northwestern, Oklahoma State, is going to be able to get into the victory formation, kneel down, make Georgetown use that last timeout, but they're going to be able to run out the clock, and they're going to be able to win a national championship. BC quarterback Al Hunt take it to the ground with only 1 timeout left. He's going to be able to ice this ball game. And do you know, in NAIA history, there have been 27 meetings.
3rd and final charge timeout, Georgetown.
There have been 28 times. This is the 29th time that a #1 team has met a #2 team in NAIA history. Never has the #2 team won until today. Northwestern Oklahoma State under Tim Alvin is going to get it done and go undefeated and win a national championship.
They sure are. 13-0, and it really began on a hot August day as Tim Alvin was to the near sideline. They won a football game up in Ellenwood, Kansas in a wheat bowl. They knocked off a good football team from the heart of America, Missouri Valley, 49-14. In that ball game, the question mark was, how good was Al Hunt? They didn't know. They were not certain. But in that ball game, he fired 2 touchdown passes, ran for a 3rd, and he really put up very impressive numbers. And we're marking our ballot for the MVP offensively, Al Hunt, defensively, Daryl Richardson, also out of Northwestern. But Hunt's been an amazing guy. Hurt his shoulder in the very first regular season football game, came back 4 games later, then became the regular QB. And last time they played a football game, this was 2 weeks ago when they took on the University of Marietta, it was so bad for him that they had to pull him out of the ball game late in the 3rd because he was so cold. Today, he's been the difference. He's had the hot hand, and he's done a great job running. Goes down to 1 knee. That's the 3rd down situation. We've got 40 seconds to play in the ball game. Remember, Northwestern Oklahoma State University has never won a national championship. As a matter of fact, as Al Hunt now is smiling, they've never gone beyond the 1st round until this year. But are they doing it? 27 seconds. They're about to win the national championship. The final one of the millennium. We have 20 seconds to go. They lead 34-26. Now remember, Hunt in the ball game fired that 73-yard touchdown that really was the coup de grace, and that's the national championship for Northwestern Oklahoma State from Alva. And they're dancing in the streets as the MVP has got the football, Al Hunt. And why wouldn't he? He is simply jubilant. His football team did it. Time is winding down, and Northwestern Oklahoma State claims the championship by 8 points. And again, what a story. Down by 20 at halftime, this football team rallied because I really think their coach fired them up. That's the one thing about Tim Alvin. You're around him, he fires you up. He has that red alert thing. But he went with the quarterback, knew he could get the job done. The defense made the big play, forced 3 turnovers, and they're now the national champions. We're going to go to the break right now. They're going to have a post-game show. We're going to talk about the MVP, take a look at the numbers. But right now, Northwest football team out of Alva, Oklahoma knocks off Georgetown, the #1 rated team, by 8 points. Back with more right after this. Got the quarterbacking skill from Al Hunt. Hunt finally got a touchdown from 5. He gave the ball to Manuel. He took it in. But when they exploded with that 73-yard touchdown pass to Willie Spears, I said, uh-oh, the Rangers will be the national champions.
Yeah, Tim Alvin does an outstanding job of sticking with the game plan. We saw his discussion with Eric down at halftime saying, you've got to continue to run the football. That's what Northwestern football is all about. And maybe your defense can make some big plays. Well, Georgetown made the mistakes, and Northwestern was there to recover the fumbles. But the offense got going behind Al Hunt. A running threat, a passing threat, and then they found Willie Spears downfield for the margin of victory, 34-26. And they actually hold Georgetown to the fewest points that they've scored this year. Before this, it was 30 points today. They only scored 26.
That's right. And remember, 2 weeks ago when they took on Azusa Pacific, it was a great game, 66-35. And you know what happened in that ball game? You remember they won the game because they ran the ball effectively. They never got the running attack going outside of Taylor up the middle. That was a key factor. And Eddie Evanston, who was brilliant in the first half with 2 touchdown passes, started the 3rd and 4th quarter 1 for 9 passing. But again, I credit that Northwestern defense led by Daryl Richardson, Loveless getting it up. Their 2 cornerbacks who played so well. I can tell you Tim Alvin did a great coaching job, because when you're down 20-0, you've got to motivate a football team, and I'm sure he challenged that.
Yeah, he did. He caught some real breaks out there. We saw the early possessions by Eddie Evanston and the Georgetown offense turn into incomplete passes on 3rd down when they could have converted there. Then they turned over the football on the option, laid the football on the ground, and gave Northwestern a little momentum. And you know Northwestern, who hasn't been beaten either this year, they really turned it on. But I also want to say to Bill Cronin's staff, what an excellent job after being hit in the face like they did, punched in the mouth, and then seeing 34 points scored against them after taking the lead. They came back and drove down the field and tried to make plays as well. They almost came back and won this game again.
You're right. Well, let's go down the field right now. Eric's got the winning coach, head football coach Tim Alvin.
Tell you what, guys, we're going to be with Coach Alvin in just a second. He's celebrating. He was raising. Why don't we get that back in there, the trophy? Oh, It's going off to the coach's table right here to take a presentation. And why don't we swing the camera around so that we can see Coach Albin getting an award right now for the championship from Sears. Right now they're preparing to give the big trophy for the national championship. Of course, it's an incredible event and a moment for Northwest. I'll tell you what, we're going to move around and maybe talk to some of the players while we're in here. We're going to move around and see what's going on. We've got the championship trophies all over the place. There it is. Coach, I think it's time to raise it to the top.
Coach Higgins. Coach Higgins!
Coach, we got to turn to our fans.
You're right. Dustin, leave him alone. Let's pick it up, man. Great job.
Hey, turn to our team.
Right now what you've got, head football coach out there, Tim Albin. You've also got his defensive football players out there. You've got the offensive and defensive coordinators. The national championship goes to the state of Oklahoma. I think for everybody they've got to feel good about, especially the way they started this year at the Wheat Bowl, winning that first ball game 49-14. But running was a key factor. Al Hunt was the guy that got it going. He had 28 carries, 129 yards. He had a touchdown. He also threw that 73-yard bomb. 8 for 13 passing, 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's the guy that picked it up in the second half, and you see him right there. He ought to have a big smile. Came here as a punter. Looked like he was going to be the number 2 quarterback. Well, he proved in the Wheat Bowl football game he was a winner. Then he got injured that shoulder, came back after game 4. He's been the man. And just remember 2 weeks ago for him, they had to pull him out of the ball game against University of Marion. The problem being the fact he was so doggone cold, his teeth were chattering, he couldn't call a play. So today he took the football game over just like he did in round 1 against Southwestern College of Winfield. And there you see Daryl Richardson, who also has a big hand in this game. He had 2 big plays on fumble recovery.
You think about this run by Northwestern. They played in the first ball game of the year in late August. And here they are, undefeated, 13-0, playing in the last game. They've had 4 weeks where they did not play a football game. This has been a team that's been together a long time. They really are a family. And head coach Tim Albin is a single guy. Football is his life. He has 2 assistants, though, his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator that he spends a lot of time with. They've been together for a long time. Garen Higgins, the offensive coordinator, and Troy Hobb, the defensive coordinator. And in fact, when they had a week off this year, they went up to Nebraska. You know, they patterned their football team after the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Well, they went up during this season and spent 3 days with the Nebraska football team, watched practice, talked to the coaches, and said, what can we implement to try to make our team even better? We really want to make a run this year. We'd like to win a playoff game. Well, guess what? They've made that run. They've used all that knowledge, and they've made it all the way to the national championship after never winning a playoff game. In their 4th time in the playoffs, they finally get their way through and win the national championship.
Sure do. Eric, you've got head football coach Tim Albin. He's got to be a mighty happy guy.
He is a happy guy, but actually who we're going to start with is Daryl Richardson, the defensive MVP of the game. First half, they moved the ball on you, but second half, man, the black cloud really turned it up a notch. Let's talk about half number 2.
We basically know that a game is not won in one half, so we just had to come back out in the second half and calm down. And, you know, this is our first national title. We just had to come out and play our football, play Ranger football.
Talk about Ranger football. We really got an example of what it was in half number 2. What was the difference? I mean, you came out of the locker room and just seemed like a whole different team out there.
We just had to calm down. We had a lot of jitters, and basically coach told us, you know, it's basically who wanted the baddest, and we had to come out in the second half and prove that we wanted it.
How's it feel to be the champ?
It's a blessing from God. It's what I call my Christmas present. It's
there
my
you go.
Christmas present.
There you go. Congratulations. We're going to bring in your teammate, the quarterback, Al Hunt. Al, they're going to show off the trophies right now, but offensively, just a tremendous, tremendous game from you. Let's just talk about what you guys were able to do against their defense.
First half, we was everybody was too hype, and then second half we came out and just did what the coaches told us to do, and we came out and won this game.
even though you guys were down at halftime, you had to feel pretty good because physically you knew that you guys were at least on even keel with them, even though you were down. So half number 2 was just the key of trying to keep the ball in your own hands, right?
Well, the first half, we had a bunch of turnovers. We knew we could move the ball against them. And came out the second half, stopped the turnovers, and we just did what we had to do to win this game.
Congratulations again. One last question. National champions, how's it feel?
Feels great. This is my first time ever being in a championship, and this feels great.
Congratulations to you guys. I'm going to send it back up to you guys in the booth.
Isn't it amazing how things can change in a ball game? And turnover started this. But they had the first turnover. That seemed to set the tone. Then they got the second turnover, a short 19-yard drive. Manuel takes it in with a TD. This team for Northwestern showed character, but boy, when they got the 73-yard touchdown, set it up because of the run, you knew then the team from Alva, Oklahoma was going to be awfully hard to beat. And I can't say enough for Al Hunt because he struggled in the first half, only had 2 completions, didn't look very good. We talked about him. Eddie Everson on the other side had the hot hand. And isn't it interesting how momentum changed in this game?
And it does so often on turnovers, and we saw that in the ball game. Northwestern in the first half had turnovers. They really created their own problems, and Georgetown took advantage of it. That's why they led 20-0. In the second half, Georgetown started laying the football out on the field. Now, Daryl Richardson is going to be there to recover it for Northwestern if you do that, and sure enough, that set up the offense. The momentum changed, and Al Hunt, the other quarterback, the quarterback that ends up being the MVP in this national championship ball game, really turned it on with his great running ability. And what a call by Garen Higgins, the offensive coordinator for Northwestern. First down, about 4 minutes left in the game. Everyone's expecting them to hold the ball, run, try to run out the clock. Well, what do? They throw a deep pass off play action. Willie Spears takes it downfield on a 71-yard touchdown. That opened up the spread to 2 touchdowns.
Sure did. We're going to take a look at some of the second half highlights because this was such an explosive football game. Here's Hunt from the shotgun.
This
See
started
that underhanded pitch. He gave the ball to Brandon Christensen.
Yeah, he started right there, that shovel pass, a key 3rd and 7 play. And then you see the fullback run up the middle for a touchdown. He was a guy that started out the year at tailback. Today, he played fullback, Gary Manuel. Now, Charles McBride, the tailback, who had all the carries from the tailback position because of Gary Manuel having to play fullback. But it wasn't over until late in the ball game because Georgetown found a pass down to Keenan McWhorter for a touchdown, but they couldn't stop this Northwestern team trying to run out the clock. Northwestern was able to pick up a first down. They had the game where they wanted it. They were ahead by 8. They had the football. They were in a running situation, and sure enough, they converted. Who did it? The man you would expect to, the MVP, Al Hunt.
No doubt. He really did a tremendous job. And out there, the various people are converging. And right now, this has been a championship football game. Mighty nice to be with you. I want to thank Stan Weber for coming by, doing a marvelous job in this championship ball game. And again, we want to go down to the field. We go down to Eric on the field.
That's right. Actually, we were joined by the head coach of the national champions. Real quick, I mean, 34 straight points. Explain it.
Well, I wish I could. If I could bottle it up, I'd probably try to sell some of the guys going into bowl season. But you got my 2 coordinators, Troy Hobb and Garen Higgins. Great job at halftime. It was one of those. I told our guys all week long, look, fellas, neither the ball club has been in a tight game all year long. Basically, if you just look at the scores, I told them all week, the team that handles the tight game the best, it will prevail. And at halftime, I just reiterated that, and we come together as a team and got it done.
Great job, Coach. Back up to you guys in the booth.
Well, I can't say enough for Tim Albin, the coaching job he did at Northwestern. This football game was won by a great quarterback and a defense. I want to thank Stan Weber. The national championship football game was 2 different halves, won by Northwestern Oklahoma. They win the football game today by 8 points. And until we join you next year, Tom Hedrick saying so long, everybody.
Have you the Northwestern football team, but the Rangers' year would not be complete without winning the NAIA National Championship. Today they face Georgetown, Kentucky in the NAIA title game in Savannah, Tennessee. It was not a good first half for Tim Albin's team. They trailed 20-0 at halftime. They finally got on the board early in the 3rd quarter. Al Hunt, the shovel pass to Brandon Christensen for the touchdown. It was 20-7 Georgetown. After a Georgetown fumble, Northwestern converted. Gary Manuel on the 8-yard TD run. It was 20-14. On the Rangers' next possession, they scored again. Charles McBride wide, taking the pitch from Al Hunt to score. 21-20 Northwestern, and they were in the lead for good. Midway through the fourth quarter, this errant pitch by Georgetown was recovered by Daryl Richardson for his second fumble recovery of the day. That set up an Al Hunt touchdown run to make it 28-20, and then Northwestern iced it on this Hunt 73-yard touchdown to Willie Spears. The Rangers win at 34-26. Hunt with 270 total yards rushing and passing. It's Northwestern's first ever national championship in any sport.
That may be the coup de grace.
Well, the first half, we had a bunch of turnovers. We knew we could move the ball against them. And came out the second half, stopped the turnovers, and we just did what we had to do to win this game.
A game is not won in one half, so we just had to come back out in the second half and calm down. And, you know, this is our first national title. We just had to come out and play our football, play Ranger football.
This year, Ranger football was 13-0. Congratulations to the Northwestern Rangers, national champions in the NAIA level. NCAA Division III champions.
But Northwestern rallies in the third. Quarterback Al Hunt with the shovel pass to Brandon Christensen, who pounds his way 7 yards into the end zone, and the Rangers are on the board. Then the Tigers get careless. Evanston, the NAIA Player of the Year, throws the horrible option pitch. It's eventually recovered by Daryl Richardson at the 18. Richardson is the game's defensive MVP. 2 plays later, fullback Gary Manuel gets the call, and he rumbles 8 yards for the touchdown. Rangers down 6. End of the third, they cap an 11-play, 75-yard drive with Charles McBride's 1-yard touchdown scamper Northwestern with their first lead, and they'd never look back. They ice it late in the fourth. Hunt back to pass. Throws the bomb to Willie, not Britney Spears, who turns this into a 73-yard touchdown. Hunt accounting for 3 touchdowns and 270 total yards. He is the offensive MVP. Northwestern scores 34 consecutive points to win their first NAIA national championship, beating Georgetown 34-26.
Know that a game is not won in one half, so we just had to come back out in the second half and calm down. And, you know, this is our first national title. We just had to come out and play our football, play Ranger football.
Everybody was too hype, and then the second half we came out and just did what the coaches told us to do, and we came out and won this game.
I told them all week, the team that handles the tight game the best, it will prevail. And at halftime, I just reiterated that, and we coming together as a team and got it done.
Congratulations to them. What a